Voters have the opportunity to cast their ballots in the May primary election from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m., and hopefully there will be a large turnout. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by our good friend Charles McElwee. He is the editor of Real Clear Pennsylvania. He's also a political analyst for SSPTV. Charles, thanks so much for being here. This is really a very important election. People may not take the primary as seriously as they do the general election, but there are a lot of important races on that ballot.
This is a riveting primary election amidst ongoing economic turbulence, and also just the fact that we're coming out of the past 2 to 3 years, the heartache that defined the pandemic era. So voters are mobilized on both sides, and the primary, this is one of the more competitive ones in memory, and reflective of how Pennsylvania is such a battleground in national electoral politics.
Now, Pennsylvania is a closed primary, meaning Republicans can vote for Republicans, Democrats can vote for Democrats. Ultimately, the major races right now are on the Republican ticket right now. There are a few races on the Democratic side, but a lot of the important races in our area, state representative, we now have 2 legislative districts. Before, that was encompassed by the 116th. Now we have the 116th and the 117th, where the Valley has moved into that portion of the district, the 117th. So there will be a little confusion, I'm sure, when people get there if they haven't done their homework, because they're going to be like, oh, I didn't know these were the candidates I had to choose from. So that might be a little confusing for some people, but hopefully they're paying attention. And when they go to the polls, they're aware of this.
It's very confusing because historically the greater Hazleton area, it was the 116th legislative district encompassed greater Hazleton, and you can almost say that the territorial lines of, let's say, the Hazleton area school district almost matched the 116th. But now the 116th includes northern Schuylkill County, the 117th, as you noted, the Valley. The area is divided, and in many ways it has been divided since 2012, that reapportionment from that period. But regardless of whoever prevails, in both parties on Tuesday, both districts reflect the changed political demography of the area. So, for example, let's say in 2010, it was far more competitive. We had an incumbent, Todd Eaches, at that time in the 116th, who was a Democrat. But the district has dramatically changed since then. People who were registered Democrat in 2010 may have even gone for Eaches, or perhaps switched to Toohill in November. They're now registered Republican, and they're voting in these primaries. So I think the best way to put it, Lisa, is with Philadelphia, the primary it's always considered the general in many ways because it's a heavily Democratic area. I think you can make the argument that due to the voter registration composition of Greater Hazleton now, the fact that Republicans are mobilized to vote, that whoever prevails in both districts on Tuesday on the Republican side will likely be the state rep who in January 23, and they're going to have to address a lot of issues for this area. This area is undergoing dramatic changes due to whether it's the warehousing growth or just the challenges that the city faces with blight or the school district. So there's just a lot going on, and the state reps are going to have a lot on their plate to deal with in Harrisburg.
Absolutely. And other important races that will be on the ballot, United States Senate, also the race for Congress in the 8th Congressional District. We'll see how that plays out as well. And then important races when it comes up to November to see who will be battling, like in the 8th against Matt Cartwright. And of course, the governor's race. And boy, it's amazing that we have a local candidate running for governor in Lou Barletta.
Right. So Lou Barletta, he's really, it seems to be down to Lou Barletta and Doug Mastriano in the Republican gubernatorial primary. And all polling has indicated that Mastriano's in the lead. The question will be, will undecided voters turn to Barletta in the final stretch? And certainly the Republican Party would hope for that outcome, because if Mastriano prevails on Tuesday, I think we would be looking at a Josh Shapiro victory for the Democrats in November, considering the composition of the state.
Today's news feature is brought to you by Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton. Remember, in an emergency, our emergency room is the safest place to be.